welcome. Today's video is long overdue. I'm going to take you step by step through this twisted S-braid collar. Let's get started. For today's video, you will need a buckle and D-ring, 3 lengths of paracord, a lighter, a paracord fid if you have one, needle nose pliers, scissors and a ruler. Calculations in inches. Measure your pet's neck and add 3 inches. For example, a 20-inch neck plus 3 inches is 23 inches. Next, for cord 1, this is the one that attaches to your buckle, neck measurement times 7. So 23 inches times 7 is 161 inches or 13 feet 6 inches. For cord 2, it is a 1 to 1 inch to feet ratio. So 23-inch neck measurement is 23 feet of cord. If you want 2 colours, divide this number by 2. So 23 feet of cord divided by 2 is 11.5 foot per colour. And for cord 3, it is the exact same as cord 2. For calculations in centimetres, measure your pet's neck and add 7 centimetres. A 50 centimetre neck plus 7 is 57 centimetres. Next, for cord 1, this attaches to your buckle. Take that neck measurement, multiply it by 7. So 57 centimetre neck times 7, 319 centimetres, or we'll just round that up to 4 metres. For cord 2, take that neck measurement and times it by 12. 57 centimetre neck times 12 is 684 centimetres, or 6.84 metres. If you want 2 colours, divide this number by 2. And for cord 3, it is the exact same as cord 2. To set up cord 1, first find your ends and use this to find your centre. Next, take 1/2 of your buckle, whichever half you like, and put the middle of your cord from the bottom up. Now you'll add your D-ring on top. This will move around a bit, but don't worry just now. Take that loop over the back and tighten. Now at this stage, don't tighten this too much, because at the very end we're going to thread some cords back through this knot. So we need the room to be able to do that. Now to create my first of my cow hitch knot, or my lark's head knot, take the end and put it through the buckle from the bottom up. You'll see you've made a loop here. Grab that cord, take it down and off to the side. Now this one you can tighten. And we're going to repeat that with our next strand. Find the end, squeeze everything else across to give yourself some room, and then put the end from the bottom up through your buckle. Grab that cord through your loop and pull to tighten. Now to create our 2 lark's head knots on our other buckle piece, find your ends, grab your buckle, and this time you're going to put the ends from the top down and just slide those all the way through for now. And what you're going to do next is you're going to grab your ruler and measure how long you want your collar. Now remember, we've added 3 inches here because the thickness will take away about 1.5 inches, and the actual braid itself, depending on how tight you braid it, will also take away 1.5 inches. So measure from where your buckles will meet when they're closed. So I'm going to make mine 11 inches. So I've measured from this end to the base of this buckle where they meet. Fold your cords over to keep your place and move everything out of the way. Next, these 2 strands here joining your buckles, these are what I call centre strands. Take the rest of your cords through your centre strands and place them on their respective sides. Now take the end of one and pop it up from the bottom through your buckle And you can see here again we've created this loop. You want to grab the end of your cord, bring it down through that loop and tighten. Now again, we're not going to tighten these like we normally would because we're going to string our colours through them. But at this point, just have a rough idea of your measurements. Make sure that everything's still the same. And we're going to move on to our next one. So grab the end of this cord, make some room, pop the end through the buckle from the bottom, down through that loop that you've created. And once again, don't tighten it too much. You'll see why in a second. Okay, now it's time to add our colours. So this is the back of my knots. I'm just going to take my colour strand and I'm going to put it through my lark's head knots. This is where, if you do have a paracord fid, and I'll show you this in a second, it does make this job a lot easier. You can use your pliers as well, or you can just do what I'm doing and struggle for a bit. You'll get there. Right, with my pink, I'm going to show you my paracord fid. So this is what it looks like. This one for my 4mm or 550 paracord. You just twist it on here, and it kind of acts almost like an embroidery needle, in that you can just slot it straight through, and it just makes life so much easier. And when you're done, you just untwist it. Right, next, to find the centre, take both ends of your colours, and I'm going to find the other two ends. So I've got all four. Grab them all together and just pull until you meet that centre. It's a bit easier if you're using two colours in one of your strands because you'll find that join. If you're just using one colour, one long colour, then this method will help you. It doesn't have to be exact, so don't spend too much time worrying about this. At this point you want to grab your ruler again and just double check your measurements. So I'm a little bit short of 11 inches here, so I'm going to just wiggle my strands essentially until I'm at the measurement that I want to be. You might need to lengthen yours, you might need to shorten them. See here I'm actually a little bit too long again, so I'll just keep tightening until I have my perfect measurement. Okay, so you can see here I have taped down my buckle and I have my colour 1 and 2. So the first thing I'm going to do is take colour 2 on the bottom and I'm going to create a cross over my centre strands. Now my white strands are all going to stay together in little groups of 2, I'm not going to move them around. Next, take one of your pink strands and put it under absolutely everything, so the 2 white and the green, and under that cross. Next you're going to take it down through this hole here between the colour and the white strands. Just bring that all the way through to show you. And we're going to do the exact same with this strand. Take it under those white strands, under that green cross, and that little gap between itself and the white strand, take it down and off to the side. And now we're just going to gently tighten everything. So I like to tighten my cross and my colours one at a time. Now for this part you can do as many of these as you want. You can do 1, you can do 5, I'm going to do 3 personally. So for my second one, just do the exact same thing. Create that cross. Take my pink strand under the white, under that green cross, down through that gap, and repeat with my other colour. Under my green cross, down through that gap, and tighten. And we'll repeat that process one more time before moving on to our S-braid. In preparation for the S-braid, I'm just going to bring both of my pink strands through to the front with the green. Now for the S-braid. Take two colours on one side and place it over your centre strands. Now remember at this point, whatever colour you're using will go on top each time. Next, take your other two strands and place them over your colours, under the white strands, over your colours again, under those white strands, and up through that little gap. So you have something that looks like this. So it's gone over, under, over, under, over. And just pull to tighten. I find tightening each colour makes it a little bit easier. I start with the centre colour and work my way out. Okay, we're just going to repeat that on the other side. Take your strands and place them over the white strands. Next, take your other strands, pop them over your colours, under your white, over your colour, under the white, and over the colour. And just like last time, pull to tighten. And again, take your strands over your white, your other colours over the colour, under the white, over the colour, under the white, and over the colour off to the side. Pull everything to tighten. So I'm going to go ahead and finish, do the rest of the collar, and then what I will do is I'll come back, we'll do our final 3 twisted braids, and then I'll show you how to finish everything off. Now there's no real measurement for when to start your last 3 twisted braids, it's just eyeballing it. So if you think you might just have enough room, squeeze all your braids up. If you think you have too much, try and put another S braid in there first. You can always squeeze it up the cords to give yourself some extra room, which is what I've done. To complete these braids is almost exactly the same as it was at the start. I'm going to create that cross over our white strands. But this time we're not going to take our pink under everything, we're just going to take it under the green, and then we're going to pop it back through that gap between the pink and the green. So we're going to ignore our white strands completely at this point. Just repeat that with your other colour strand, under the green cross, and down through that little space. And tighten everything up. Now you might notice if you squeeze too much, it tends to try and go on top of the braid. So this one will be a little bit loose for now, but don't worry because it all comes together when we add in the other ones. Now create your second twist by making that cross again. And you'll notice here we don't have a ton of room, so it's a bit fiddly, but I find it best to bring the pink strands all the way through and then we can work with them from there. So grab your pink strand, bring it right through the middle of the whites, all the way, and that means it's under the white and under the green. Now that tiny gap there between the pink and the white, just like at the very beginning, we're going to take our end, we're going to poke it through and pull. And we're going to repeat that with our other strand. So I'm going to bring the end right through the centre of the whites. Under my green cross and pull it all the way through. And then I'm going to take that end and I'm going to put it back between the pink and the white. I do realise this cord might look red on the camera, they are both pink. And pull it to tighten. Now for our last one we're going to have to squeeze it up a bit and create a little bit more room, and we're just going to repeat that step 2 again. To make everything a little bit easier this time, I'm just going to bring my pink strands through the middle just now, and that'll make it a bit easier for you to see when we make that green cross what's happening. If you've made it this far, a massive well done. This is not a short video by any means. What we're going to do now is we're going to thread all 6 of these cords so that they're nice and secure, and then we're going to cut and singe them all. So this is where that knot that I said at the start to keep loose really comes into play. We're going to put 4 cords through there, and I'm going to use my paracord fid. If you don't have one, this is where your needle nose pliers come in handy. I've attached one of my cords to my paracord fid, and I'm just going to pop it through that horizontal knot and take it all the way through. I'm going to do this with all of my coloured cords, and I'll explain why just in a second. The reason I'm going to do my green instead of my white now is so the green will almost hug the white, and that'll help to keep it secure. And if the white comes out from where the green is, it's not a big deal because that's not going to unravel your collar. But if the colours come out, it can have some effect on your collar. So that's why we're doing all of our coloured cords through this one. And the white cords, or whatever you've used as your centre strands, those will stay loose just now. Now, what you'll need is scissors, your pliers and a lighter, because we're going to cut and burn and press all of these cords together. So I'm going to start with this white one, and you want to be careful at this point to make sure everything else is out the way, because you don't want to get to this stage and then accidentally burn open the wrong cord. So I'm just using my pliers to kind of wheedle that away a little bit, and then I'll take my lighter. And also watch your fingers here, because I do burn myself quite regularly. And light your cord until it melts. Now be warned, it does light itself on fire occasionally. Use the metal of your pliers to just press that in, and I try and press it into other cord, because the melted cord, once it cools down, it'll adhere to any other cord that it's attached to, and that stops it from coming loose. Now you can do all of these one at a time as well, all your coloured cords, or you can just go for it and do all 4. I'll do my other white quickly, and then we'll go for the 4 in the middle. Now let's do the 4 colour cords in the middle. So, like I said, you can do these one at a time, which I recommend if you're fairly new to this, but I'm just going to go for it. Cut all 4. Now, I will say for this video, I did cut them a bit longer. I would normally cut these a bit shorter, but you get the idea. So I'm bending that buckle out of the way, just to make sure it's not going to attach, the lighter's not going to get anything that's attached to the buckle. Light the ends of your cord until they're all sufficiently melted, and then just like you did with your white cord, you're going to use your pliers to press it down. Try and press it down into that white strand of cord, and that'll stop it from coming loose. And there you have completed your very own twisted S-braid collar. Now you can see when I close it here how small that looks. Now that started off at 11 inches, but what I'll do is I'll grab my ruler and I'll show you just how much that shrinks. You can see now when I measure it, I have lost a good 1.5 inches. That will vary depending on how tightly you braid. A looser braid doesn't tend to shrink quite as much, a tighter braid does. But the other 1.5 inches that comes off is from the thickness of the braid, which is why I recommend that you add 3 inches, probably more if you've got a fluffier dog. What I would say is always add more, because you can always unravel it. It is a pain, but you can always unravel it and shorten it, whereas if you make that too short, you've got nowhere to go. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you're still here at this point, please comment below and let me know, because this is a lengthy video and I will happily comment back to anyone who does. If you make this, please send me photos. I always like to see, and as always, like, comment and subscribe. See you next time. Bye!